G'day guys, I'm back just with another quick little video, just an update and addition to the comparison video I did yesterday with the ELB 500 TTL, the ELB 400 and the ELB 1200. One of the viewers, Stephen Pollitt, asked me if I could do some tests just measuring the output from each of the unit at full power from a distance of 1 meter using just the standard reflectors for each of the units. So that's what I'm about to do now. So firstly, I'll just turn on each of these units and we can have a look at what the maximum output is. So you can see on the ELB 400, it's 6.0, the ELB 500 TTL it's 6.3, and the ELB 1200 it's 7.5. So not a huge difference in the output between these guys. But let's find out exactly what that means in terms of light output in f-stops. All right, so let's pop the head from the ELB 400 up first. So this is the HS head and this tiny little reflector that it comes standard with. I've got my Sekonic light meter here. So to make things a little bit easier, I've set them up in different frequencies so I can just quickly change that on my trigger. So frequency 1, frequency 3 and frequency 7. So I've got the Sekonic meter set up at 100 ISO, 125th of a second. And I'm just using the Skyport Plus trigger to fire off each of the units. All right, so let's get a reading from the ELB 400. Okay, so as you can see there, we've got a meter reading of F38, 100 ISO, 125th of a second for the ELB 400. All right, let's switch over to the ELB 500 TTL. So it's got a slightly deeper standard reflector. This is the one that's available in the to-go kit. There is a dual kit with 2 heads and you get this standard reflector as well as the smaller reflector that's on this guy. So I'll do a measurement with both these reflectors. I'll take this one off in a second and see if we get any difference in the output. All right, switching this over to channel 3. And just doing a test, that works. All right, taking our measurement from the ELB 500 now. And that's giving us a measurement of F54 at 1 meter, ISO 100, 125th of a second. So I'll now just swap those reflectors, put the small reflector on the ELB 500 and see what result we get. So there we go, F38.4 for the ELB 500 with the little small reflector. That makes a lot of sense because the smaller reflector is a wider angle, so it's spreading the light a little bit further, whereas the deeper reflector is concentrating that light a bit. Also, only 0.4, roughly a third of a stop difference between the 400 and the 500. All right, let's swap over to the ELB 1200 and see what result we get. All right, I just changed my frequency to frequency 7 to match what's set on the ELB 1200. Okay, and there we go on the ELB 1200, we're getting f54.2 at 100 ISO and 125th of a second. Okay, so that's quite a surprising result. We've only got about 0.2 of a stop difference between the 500 and the 1200. And that's probably due to the design of this new reflector. It's a little bit deeper and it also seems to be very efficient. So I think the best thing to do now is test them all again without any reflectors at all and just see what results we get. Let's start with the 400. Switch that back to channel 1. Okay, as expected, we're getting a lower result. So f22.1, 100 ISO, 125th of a second on the ELB 400 with no reflector attached. All right, let's switch over to the ELB 500 TTL and test it with no reflector. And exactly what I would expect, f22.4, so 4/10 of a stop difference between the ELB 400 and the ELB 500. All right, let's try the 1200 with no reflector and see what result we get. Switching to channel 7. So there we go, f45.2. That's more of the difference I would expect between a 500 watt-second pack and a 1200 watt-second pack. So there you go, without the reflectors, we're getting almost 2 stops difference between the 500 TTL and the 1200. So I hope that helps you guys get a better understanding of the light output between these units. As you saw, we get a very different result depending on what reflector we use there. So depending on what modifier you use, you're going to get different results. So bear that in mind when making your purchasing decisions. Thanks again for watching. I hope you got some good information out of that. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. And until I see you in the next video, ciao for now.